Hey everybody, this is Mike with BuzzTox, and today I want to go over some of the thoughts I've had about Lady Trieu, her connections with Trieu and Veidt, and how her plans might have been revealed in both episodes 4 and 5. So first, let's talk about everything we know about Lady Trieu. First, we know she's an ultra-rich trillionaire owner of Trieu Company or Industries, and that she grew up in the state of Vietnam, which was annexed by the United States after the Vietnam War, which was won for them by Dr. Manhattan. Trieu got rich with advanced pharma and biomedical tech. Her mother was a great lover of Vietnam who made her daughter promise never to leave. Now, Trieu got around this by creating a biodome in Tulsa, which is a reproduction of the Vietnamese ecosystem. Trieu has a daughter, Bian, who after episode 4 many suspect is either Trieu's clone or a clone of her mother. She has glasses, which Trieu doesn't wear, so my money is on the clone being of her mother. This daughter has nightmares of Vietnam, and episode 5 introduced us to nostalgia, and this is a memory drug, which it seems Trieu is giving her daughter so that Bian lives the memories of Trieu's mother. Now, the first mention of Trieu is in the newsstand scene where we see Bian retrieving all of the newspapers for her mother to read. And this was a reference actually to Trieu and Veidt, who also consumed mass media in order to understand the group psychology. And this enabled him to become extremely successful in business. He was a billionaire also with Veidt Industries. This was our first indication that Trieu's character would be much like Veidt from the original comic series. Now, Veidt's great plan to stop nuclear war in 1985 succeeded, but what he didn't realize was that it would result in society largely rejecting personal technology. Now, Veidt Industries declined, and it was bought out by the rising Trieu company. And like Trieu, Veidt excelled in genetic manipulation, creating the giant squid which he dropped on Manhattan. And it can be assumed that the Trieu company is the corporation which owns that pet cloning center that we saw in episode 5. They're messing around with genetics all the time. We see that in the baby scene, which is where we were first introduced to Trieu in person, in this eerie scene where she made a fast deal with this farm couple because she wanted their land. The tension in this scene came to a height when she made a joke about having to destroy the baby that she's genetically engineered if the family didn't make that deal with her. And the question here that a lot of people have is, was she joking at this time? Part of me says yes, of course she was. Why would she destroy a baby? But then in the next episode, we saw Looking Glass's ex-wife casually disintegrate this cloned pet. And in the scene, she's likely following company policy, the Trieu company. Now, they're owned by Trieu, so maybe those are guidelines which she fully endorses, showing that her lack of empathy. We also see Veidt dispatching the Phillips and Crookshank clones without any hesitation. Veidt casually tosses baby clones he didn't like over his shoulder into a pond. And this is what happens when you're overexposed to horror, like the Doctor in the cloning area, or if you're like Veidt and you see yourself and your plans as more important than others. This desensitization, this lack of empathy and humanity occurs when rationality overrides compassion, and you think that you're doing what you think is right for a better cause. Now, this whole scenario, this is literally what the first Watchmen comic was all about. It's those holding power will inevitably cause pain to others. Power corrupts. Who will watch the Watchmen? So if she's like Veidt and her employee, then she truly doesn't give a damn about this family at all. But if she doesn't care about this family, then why would she go through this negotiation at all? Why would she go to the trouble of creating a baby for the couple? Why not just kill them, get them out of the way? And my only answer to this is that she doesn't want to draw any attention from this missing family living right down the road from her company headquarters. She doesn't want the attention brought to her activities there. And she can't have things interrupted right now before her plans are about to be completed. Now, at the end of episode 4, she stated that her and Will's plans will take place in 3 days. And we know those plans can't be good because Will says that in 3 days Angela will hate him for what he's done. So, what's this plan? Now, I've got a few ideas. They're just theories right now, so let me know what you think about it. Number 1, it's a mass destruction event. Bian states in episode 4 that the Millennium Tower was built as the first wonder of the New World. Built in Tulsa because it's 1,000 miles away from the oceans. So I'm going to make a guess here that everything is about this doomsday event, which will be set off from the Millennium Tower. One which might involve a tidal wave destroying the coastlines far from Tulsa, but destroying almost every major city in the world at that time. And in this scenario, Trieu is going to replace Ozymandias' character from the original series as this anti-villain. But while Ozymandias sacrificed a few million in New York to save humanity, Lady Trieu is going to wipe the slate clean and start making this new utopia of her own, centered around this Millennium Tower. So that's plan one. Plan number two, let's talk about nostalgia. It was a true company drug, one which was outlawed by the US government, saying it drove people insane. Now, Trieu is shown using this on her own daughter, so it must in fact be safe. So maybe Trieu has developed a way to send out the effects of this drug en masse to the world via her Millennium Tower, not by a drug per se, but more, let's say, an energy from the tower. Now, it will have the same effect as this drug. It would send out this great sharing of memories, perhaps Will Reeves' memories and those of others, and this action would bring empathy and stability to society. If we all had each other's memories, then maybe we would get along. So this is a working theory. It makes her less of a villain, but let me know what you think. In either of these plans, I believe that she's the one that's manipulating Senator Keene. His activities are the result of Trieu, again, like with the farm family, she doesn't want to bring any attention to what she's doing there. So she's using Keene to stir up the 7th Cavalry and to distract the police force and the FBI from what she's doing there. So if these are her plans, maybe, then what's her motivation? Why do all of this? And again, I've got two ideas here. Number one, she has to do something fast. Things are a mess in the US, and the Russians are developing their own intrinsic field device. So they might soon be capable of making their own Dr. Manhattan. Right now, everything seems to be all right in the world, but things are about to go off the rails, and something needs to be done fast to make a big change. Now, number two is more in her name. Her name is a reference to the 3rd century Vietnamese hero who rebelled against Chinese imperialism. The historic Lady Trieu was known to ride on elephant back, and we see several elephant references in the show. The tea-ware in the scene with Will and the hourglass in the scene with the family have the elephant on them. Now, this is the reference to her name. This historic Trieu, I believe, she will all be about fighting off imperialism. The historic Trieu was about that also, so that's what our character will be about. Her plan's motivation will be because of the American annexation of Vietnam and the cruelty which was given to her mother, which she might want revenge on, and that's in this doomsday scenario. Now, some people are theorizing that her mother is the pregnant Vietnamese woman killed in the Watchmen comics by the comedian, and I like this idea with her being another child of the comedian like Laurie. In the last scene with that woman in the comics, we see Dr. Manhattan standing over her body, reflecting on his own loss of humanity. And I like the idea of him saving that baby and knowing the significance it would have on history. He would have seen whether that significance would have been good or terrible, but he wouldn't have been able to do anything to stop it. Because although he can see throughout his own timeline as one of his powers, he's unable to change anything that he does. He's stuck in this loop. So let me know what you think. Do you have your own theory for Lady Trieu? Is she a hero, a villain, a little of both? Every time she speaks, they play this ominous music in the background, but is this just a feint to keep us from guessing that she's actually has good intentions for humanity? And how is Veidt involved in all this? Did Trieu make a deal with him for his company, and that's how he ended up in his enclosure on that moon that's become a prison? Was that enclosure an abandoned experiment run by Dr. Manhattan where he went off to create his own life? Will Veidt escape from that prison? And was that him that crash landed in the eggs farmer's field? And how's he going to fit into Trieu's plan? Does the Trieu company really send those messages to Dr. Manhattan? Or is this just a data collection device of sorts? Or just a way to rip people off? We might have to make another video going deep into Veidt's plans, so if you want to hear one, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and keep watching us here at BuzzTox. Thanks a lot.